how do we begin the conversation so that we're talking to our children before the culture starts talking?
One of the analogies that we use is we don't want to send thirsty children out into the world. And so when your child is thirsty, they're going to look for something to drink. Typically what parents think is like, hey, we've got to have the talk. And they think about the talk of like, hey, my son or daughter is starting to go through puberty. And so we, 11, 12, or 13, that's when a parent should, begin to talk to them about sex. But the reality is that if a child is going to be sexually abused, 63% of the time it happens before age 11.
And the thing we know about sexual abuse is just that 90% of the people who do it, we know that it happens to 1 out of 3 girls and 1 out of 4 boys. And it doesn't matter if you're at a Christian school, it doesn't matter if you're at a public school, it doesn't matter if you're homeschooling, it doesn't matter how much money you have. What matters is that your child is taught a kind of wisdom about people and that they get that wisdom from their parents.
Kelly and I began to think about like, hey, there's all this trauma that is happening as these people come in, and we're trying to help them at the other side of sexual abuse. And so we began to think about like, well, what if we began to create something that helped and empowered parents to keep their kids from being sexually abused? And that is where Shielding Innocence was born.
Many times there's opportunities to have a conversation with your child, usually on the fly, when you're not ready and they have a question, that you're prepared to answer it. So as their sexuality develops and more questions come, this is not the first time you're talking about it. And so it's really developing that conversation with your children.
Really the conference is for parents that have kids between 0 and ages 13.
You walk away feeling like, I faced my fear. I looked at the things that were hard for me to look at on this topic, so I'm not running from it anymore. Therefore, I'm empowered to move into uncomfortable places in my kids' lives and make them comfortable.